Welcome to The Gorgeous Effect. I'm Julie Chanel, and with my co-founder, Kathy Olson, we're about to drop some serious tea on how to create funnels that not only look amazing, but actually convert into customers. It's time to show the world what you've got. Let's do this. Hey everyone, welcome back to The Gorgeous Effect. This is Julie and Kathy, and today we are talking about, it's kind of mindset-like, but it's more just you've been in business for a while and you feel like no matter who you learn from, no matter what idea or course or framework, you are like, the problem is me. I can't make any of this work and I feel so stupid.
Dun dun dun. It's like everyone's
The
deepest
deepest
fear
fear
that
that you don't want to say out loud.
yes, that you are the problem.
It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me, right?
Is this true? I don't know. Like I feel it feels like yes and no. Because there's lots of times like when we're like coaching people or whatever and we're like you're the problem. You're actually the problem. But then there's other times when they think it's them and it's not them. And like and even just like feeling inadequate, feeling stupid, feeling like you're missing something when you're not missing something, you just have to actually walk like because maybe your expectations are off. Like, yeah, there's so many directions with this and so many angles. But I think it's a huge problem, especially
Well,
now.
I have I know people come into our world all the time and they join FG funnels and they feel overwhelmed and like, I don't know if I'm going to get it. And they think it's them. It's not. We always try to tell them it's not just you. There is a learning curve for everybody. And I had a total imposter insecure moment where I feel like I could really relate to a lot of these people because I hang out. I think we always just like to hang out in spaces that are a little bit like above our pay grade, if you know what I mean. Like I'll
100%.
hang out in these software developer spaces and then I am just wrecked with insecurity. I'll read these articles and I'll only understand a little bit. And then because I have health anxiety, I'll think that I'm getting dementia or I'm just not smart or whatever because I literally can't understand it. And if I stay in those spaces for a long time, I don't feel like I can ask questions.
Hmm.
Everybody around me is talking intelligently about it. I have no idea. And I'm like, I must be the problem. There's something wrong with me. And that's such a terrible feeling to feel. And it turns out that it's not true. That a lot of those spaces, including us, we are guilty of this too. They do not understand that they are talking at a level that most people who don't do software code can't do. We do this as well. We call it technobabble. It doesn't even matter if you're in a tech field or not. You probably talk with technobabble. You talk above the average customer, and then they walk away thinking, it's me. I'm the reason that this hasn't worked yet.
It's so funny. Like, last night I've been watching like movies from like the 90s with my kids, just like showing them all this genre of movies. And on Netflix, Johnny Mnemonic came up. I'm sure you've never seen it because it was in the early night or yeah,
No.
mid 90s. It was 95. But it was totally up my alley because I was coding websites in 1995 and I was all about the internet and I was all about the future. And so I watched it. Eric didn't. He'd never seen it. And he's like, they were saying all this stuff like technobabble, but it was like 90s technobabble, which sounds so old now.
So old
Like,
school.
and like their version of the future, they were talking about they were still faxing, they were still using TV, like because they just didn't know. They were still using like not even flat screen TVs, and it was supposed to be set in 2021, by the way, which was hilarious because there was a whole
Oh
like
my
fever
gosh.
thing going around. Anyways, all that to say, I understood everything they were saying, and Eric's like, "Oh, see that they just pretended to know all this stuff because nobody knew that stuff in the 90s." I was like, "Not me. I I knew." He's like, "Well, you weren't normal. You're not a normal person." He was like, "So I wasn't into that stuff because I was like the 90s or whatever." But it just made me think of like how long I've been into this stuff, and even like I was teaching myself code in 1995, right? And obviously internet dial-up. They still had the dial-up sound, which was
I
funny to
know.
me in 20, it's supposed to be 2021. Um, but I kept thinking like I used to be on top of it, right? And I taught myself code And then as code got harder and harder and crazier, like I'm actually like I lost it along the way. Like I let go and the machine took off without me. So even the people who, I don't know, were in there in the beginning or whatever, or we used to be really techie, like I still like I'm feeling behind, you know? So I think it's super normal to feel like that. But I do think that the problem is not you. It's the problem of like being in a community that's not like ready for to help people that are not like it's almost like you have to be at a level in order to pay to play, right? You have to already have come in with some knowledge, but then how do you even get that knowledge? Like where do you even get that from? Like you have to start like someone has to help you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, the other day I posted in FG Society, which is our membership for marketers. I said, do people feel behind on AI? And everyone was like, yes, 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 yes. And in this quest that I was on the other day, trying to learn something that I felt like technically inept at, it took me about 2 days of like deconstructing it, looking stuff up, talking to Claude. And I finally understood it. And I was like, man, this is not quite as complicated as it first appeared. And I think this is one of the things that we need to normalize when it comes to online business and tech. It's supposed to feel hard and uncomfortable when you start. That is not a reflection of you being stupid. It's not a reflection of it not working for you. It's how it feels when your brain is getting new neural connections and learning new things. And I mean, I don't know if you want to tell the story. When we first moved to FG Funnels, I mean, I really distinctly remember a Voxer message where you, who are a very technical designer, were like crying at how difficult it was and like having a little like, buyer's remorse at first.
Yeah, I know 100%. I think, but I also, the same thing happened when I learned ClickFunnels, and which is crazy because at the time when I met you and you kind of like talked me into ClickFunnels, I was doing WordPress from scratch. I was building themes like from the ground up with all the code, like all the things. And and I was afraid of ClickFunnels. Like what a silly thing, I was literally doing coding from scratch, doing
I
custom
know it wasn't like it was
WordPress themes.
harder, but yeah.
Yeah, but I was like, well, I don't understand. WordPress does everything and I can do whatever I want and I don't have to pay anything. And you were like, no, this was built for marketing specifically. It all works together. Like I remember you like shifting me into that mindset.
Mm.
So I think I had a little bit of that. I mean, I hate moving platforms. I mean, everybody does. I don't think anyone's like, please, can I learn this all over from scratch? Like nobody wants to do that, right? And I also think that it's normal, but it's also normal what your brain is doing to you in that moment. Like it trying to
Yes.
talk you out of learning something new is part of the way that your brain protects you, right? If like it doesn't want you to fail, it doesn't want you to waste time, it doesn't want you to waste money or resources or anything, right? So you have to understand that your brain's doing what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to talk you out of this. Like that's its job is to say, this is too hard. You can't do this. You shouldn't be doing this. Like it's like all the alarm bells are going off.
Yeah.
And then your executive functioning brain needs to go, no, this is good for us. Like, no, 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 this is like, pain before pleasure. It's okay. And so that whole thing is normal.
It is. It is. And, if you are a teacher in any field, doesn't even have to be tech, if you recognize that there's always an area where you're a beginner, right? And that's why I always say it's helpful to always be learning new things because you're always a beginner somewhere. And that helps you normalize that beginning feeling in any industry, especially tech, is going to feel uncomfortable. But it also helps you if you are a teacher or an online business owner that like oversees other people. It humbles you because you're like, oh yeah, this is what it's like to feel like a beginner. And the more distant you get from beginners, the worse your technobabble gets, and the worse you are able to communicate to, normal normies, if you will. And I think that that is something that you want to keep in mind. But, I want to like kind of stray slightly from the techno speak and the feeling of my business hasn't worked yet. I'm not built for this. I've heard that many times. And these are people that, for whatever reason, tech aside, their social media hasn't taken off, or their offers haven't sold, or their funnels haven't converted. And they are really at their wits' end, feeling like maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just not made for this. And I hear that all the time.
Yeah, I mean that is hard. Yeah, that's hard of like when is it not for you? Like when is it too much? When is it like when is it you? Because again, I do think that there at one point there is something because sometimes like I'll hear like we'll give advice to somebody or something and they'll do what their version of that advice is and we're like no, not like that. So like but in their eyes they did what we told them to do.
Mm.
Right? Like, don't you, and I'm sure you see this in Digital Insiders where you're like, do this. And then they're like, hey, I did this, it didn't work. And you're like, that's not what I told you to do. Like, you put that through some other filter or you took your version of that. That's not what I meant. So, like, I think in those instances, we really need those almost checks and balances of like, no, that's not what I meant. Or like, because again, you were thinking you did it. And so you're like, I tried that, it didn't work. But you're like, but no, you didn't try that because you did it
You actually,
wrong.
yeah.
Yeah, so how do you like reconcile I really did try this and I did it the way I was supposed to do it or like I took my version of it because sometimes people will go, "Well, you don't really have to like they have their own versions of it, right? It's like, "Hey, do this and this." And they're like, "Well, I'll do kind of that." But I'll also kind of put my own flavor. And I'm totally thinking about my friend Amber. We used to always have this conversation about Amber of like, you tell her to do something and she do her version of it. And you're like, nope, that's not. So
Not
yeah, how
quite
do you
what I meant.
reconcile that?
But into Amber's credit, I'll never forget last was it was 2 CEO weeks ago. I had given her some instructions to work on a webinar. Then she went over to you. You guys worked on some, filtered version of the instructions. And then I was like, that's not what I said. And then she was up at till like 2 in the morning trying to like put it back to like the way that I said. But, she's actually a great example. I'm glad you bring her up because she has been working with me for a bunch of years and she is like her webinar is finally taking off and she's nailed it. So she is an example of someone who has really shown a tremendous amount of persistence in the wake of that discomfort. But I do want to say something. So this is a little vulnerable, but people come to me and they'll often say like, why aren't you more popular? Like, why have I not heard, like, why have I not heard of you before? And I've sat with that, like, why am I not more popular? I mean, this sounds so stupid to say this, and that's why I said it's vulnerable. But like, I have what, 20,000, 40,000 followers or something, but I don't have like Jenna Kutcher level followers. And I think this exact thing where I go, is it me? Am I just not built for that level of popularity or what have you? Or is there something I'm not doing that I need to be doing? And I've come to the conclusion that I could actually have the popularity of a Jenna Kutcher or Marie Forleo or something if I was willing to do it the way it needs to be done. And the reason why I haven't gotten there is because I keep putting my own flavor on it, which is making I'm not going to get there from here. Like my version is not
100%.
like the right
That was what I was
version.
going to say. If you were asking me, I was going to say that there's boundaries that you have that you're not going, that you would have to cross over and to be that, which I think is the truth a lot, like of what you're saying. There's things that like you do want to do it your way. You still like, I mean, because it has to be sustainable, right? So it has to
Yeah.
fit in with our lifestyle. So it's not inaccurate for you to say that. It's not because you're like being like, bullheaded or whatever, and you don't want to do it. Like it actually has to fit in with your lifestyle, has to fit in with, your morals and who you are and like whatever. So like, yeah, at some point you have to decide which is more important.
Right. Exactly. So in this example, like I'm not actually doing what needs to be. I'm putting that in quotes, what needs to be done in order to get there.
Mhm.
But I'm also not like quitting and saying, "Oh, I guess it's not for me. I'm going to quit." I'm just going to continue to do it my way and suffer the consequences of doing it my way, which
Yeah,
means,
consciously, yeah, you're gonna consciously do it your way, like this is what you've chosen.
but that doesn't work as well if you are like trying to put food on the table and you're trying to hit 10K
Mhm.
months, let's say, or 20K months and build a financial future. And you are thinking, well, I'm not cut out for it because I've tried all that and it hasn't worked. Because there are times when, like you said, you are using your filter. You think you're doing that, but you're not doing that at all, and
Yeah.
there's a lot that can be unpacked. Because if you think that there's something fundamentally unchangeable about you or about your business or about your offers, you will end up quitting. Unless if you just think, you know what, I just haven't cracked I just haven't done it the right way yet. Not, I'm fundamentally not cut out for this.
Yeah, I think this is very much my social media journey right now. It's like
I was going
it's
to say, this
it's
is hitting close to home for you too.
yeah, because but the thing is I don't believe that it's me. Like I think there is an answer. I've uncovered many rocks and I've looked under many a stone, and I don't think that I think I still think there's an answer at this point. I am not giving up hope completely. But I have gotten to the point where like a couple times like over the last week I'm like, should I just just focus on ads and just forget it again? Like I don't know. It's like but it's like I want it so badly. I want organic to work so badly because it would really help our business. Like, if I
Yeah.
could freaking like crack it, it would help our ads. It would help, word of mouth. It would help everything go. It would be like a downhill slide if we could just get organic going. But again, it's also like, well, is what it would take, would that hurt the business? Would that, what I'm saying? So there's always like those pieces. But I guess I fundamentally don't believe it's me. But then sometimes all the signs are like it's you. So I'm like, am I delusional? Like I'm just Delulu over here thinking, whatever. And yeah, but I think it's with anything. I think anytime you're doing something like that, you have to weigh the pros and cons. But even like specifically in that information or in that situation, what I was thinking was I need to have a person, I need to have an outward person kind of tell me again well, my filter is this. Here's what I'm hearing you say. Here's what like let's like writing a hook or whatever, right? Or something like that, or creating piece of content. I'm like, is this what you meant by that? I need someone to be like, that's not what I meant by that. And let me look at your stats and figure out the like that's you need that diagnosis and freaking
Yes.
Claude and chat or they're going to tell me everything's great all day long or oh here's why you like in retrospect hindsight 2020 here's why it didn't work but I'm like but you're the one that told me that so like so that's why it's like I think you need people who have that discernment who have like that eye or whatever to like figure out where the disconnect is happening. Yes, are you doing the work and it's just not working? You need to try something else, or are you doing it wrong? Do you have a filter? Like you almost just need that
Yeah,
outside
that bias.
perspective. Yeah.
Well, okay, so inside of FG Society, this is our membership for marketers, and we do a lot of trainings and over the shoulder stuff. And, FG Society has some core curriculum that is focused on offer copy design. And offer is something that like we both do. I, focus on copy, Kathy focuses on design, but it shows up so much in these two arenas because I'll say, someone will come to me and they'll say, I need a cash injection. And I'll say, okay, write an email making an irresistible offer. And then they'll do it. And I'll be like, that's not what I meant. There's so many things wrong with this email. And then I'll build a GPT and I'll build this training to try to like get people to like do exactly what I meant. And sometimes I'll never forget. I said to someone, you need to send this email with every single pixel exactly as I said it, because they're like, well, I can't. I'm like, no, you will break it if you change anything. And I see this with design too. I'll be like, okay, you need to
Yeah.
design that. And then I'll look at it. I'll be like, oh dear God, do you think that's design? Like,
Yeah,
I
and
don't,
I'm saying the same thing. No, not like that. That's not what I meant by that. When I said this, I did not mean that.
but so this should be, if you're the kind of person who like, you're not getting it right, this shouldn't be, oh, I'm terrible. It should be like, hey, um, there's potential for me to get it right. I just
Yeah.
need the good feedback. I need to be teachable. I need that, like you said with the social media, you need someone to be like, no, 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 that's not it. And this is where I think a lot of courses and uh, DIY things break down because if you're really going to go all in for something, you need other eyes on you. You just do.
Yeah. I don't think you need it forever. I think
Mm-mm.
that like once you understand, like once you can kind of get on their wavelength and you can see it how they're seeing it and you think of things differently, that's what you need. And that's kind of what I've been trying to do is not just like using, hook templates or using, trending audio or whatever. Like I want to know how to think like a creator, which is again, I know how to think like a marketer. I got that down. That's
Yeah.
there. It's very ingrained, which is like the opposite. But if I could learn how to think like a creator and think like a strategist, then I wouldn't need a strategist, right? It's kind of like that what I'm getting at. But I think the only way to get there is almost shadow and like hear what people say, how they're thinking about things, why they're thinking about things, what's the thought process, what's the psychology they're building, stuff like that. I think that will help you get there faster and also
Yep.
just making mistakes, obviously doing it and making mistakes and getting data. But I think that's the key to it of doing something harder is walking the walk and then being around people who can guide you when you're walking in the wrong direction off of a cliff. You know?
And hopefully this episode has been revealing that it is not just you. You are not the unique snowflake who this doesn't work for. You can hear it. Kathy is having issues with this. I'm having issues with this. Like everybody in some arena. Maybe it's tech for you. We have a lot of people who tech is their hang up. And that's one of the things that we try to solve for folks by creating a supportive environment where there's no such thing as a stupid question and you are going to be able to learn in that environment because you do need safety. You need to feel like you can ask questions and learn and fail and be a student. But like Kathy and I, even with our success, are struggling with this in different arenas. We are all struggling with it. And I think, having those honest conversations will help, I don't know, just like make failure not be such like this huge embarrassing thing. It'll just be like, oh yeah, remember when I, tried to do that thing and it completely bombed, or like when I thought this was well designed and it was absolute disaster. And then we can just keep learning from there.
Yeah, you're not the only one. No one else is talking about it. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure all the people that are super popular that have big followings would have the same exact conversation in another arena. It's always just what new levels, new devils, as they say. Yeah. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, if there's a topic you want us to discuss on the Gorgeous Effect, just DM us at Funnel Gorgeous on Instagram. We love to hear your feedback. We'll talk to you soon, guys. Bye.
Hey, gorgeous. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. And if you're thinking, okay, but what now? We've got you. So just for listening today, we want to give you a gift. Head over to learngorgeous.com. We're going to grab some free resources, free trainings, this month's specials, and everything you need to keep going. Until next time, make it gorgeous.